Hello, a friend of mine has bought this ROLAND JUNO-G in to have a look at for him, and I powered it up last night, and when you first power it up there's nothing for about 15-20 seconds or so, and the volume slowly increases, and then the whole keyboard works correctly for about 15 minutes, and then the volume starts to creep away again and it ends up with all sorts of crackling sounds and things. So I'll try and demonstrate. It doesn't happen all the time, but if I power it up and just go to a string instrument or something, use a little credit card here to jam the key down with. Volume is on full and it's still loading up. Come on, we'll get there in a minute. Right, now if I go to orchestra and press strings, it'll either play immediately or it won't. Let's see. That's called Sod's Law. So that seems okay, that seems fine. Every time you want to record something, video something goes wrong. But last night it took a good 15 seconds or so, and it's as if the volume just slowly increased. Anyway, the problem is, after 15 minutes or so, the volume has gone. Everything becomes crackly and there's really nothing there to hear. So I'll leave this on for a moment and let it warm up. And well, hopefully it's going to break down so I can make a video here. That's 5 minutes and it's still working okay. Come on. It's coming up to 10 minutes now. Everyone concerned lived happily ever after. 15 minutes. 16 minutes. Still working. 22 minutes. It's still working. Come on, break down. Just as I'd gone to make a nice cup of tea, suddenly the volume dropped on this. No, it doesn't sound very well, does it? It took a long time to get this problem to come back again. Last night when I tried it, it was only about 15 minutes. Now it's taken well over half an hour, but that's basically what happens to it. And even if we switch off and reset, the problem still exists. And it's as if you have to wait for the entire thing to cool down again before you can use it again for another 15 or 20 minutes. So that probably suggests to me that maybe there's a component that takes a while to heat up, get hot, and then it'll break down. And of course, just switching it off for a moment and switching it back on again doesn't cure it. You have to switch it off for a few hours and let the whole thing cool down completely before you can use it again for another 20 minutes, which isn't really good. Right, my favourite bit is taking keyboards apart, if you haven't already guessed. So lots of screws to choose from. I think I'll just speed this up for you. And here we are inside the ROLAND JUNO-G. Now what I'm going to do here is actually just power the thing straight back up again, because whatever component is really hot, I want to keep it hot. Now I've taken the back off and I'm having a look around here to see the temperature problems. I've noticed the 7805 voltage regulator here, that's right in the middle there, is 95 Celsius. That's pretty hot. And the only thing that concerns me there, it's sitting right next to this big capacitor here, and that capacitor is only rated at 85 Celsius. So this is 95 here, and that's 85 maximum operating temperature for that. So I'm wondering if when this is getting really hot, it's actually affecting the capacitor there. I mean, this is in line with all the power, etc. But it's just a shot in the dark, really, as into maybe this is getting too hot and affecting the components next to it. But other than that, looking along the board with this device, there's nothing that sort of screams out at me as saying, ouch, I'm too hot. This has been on for another half an hour and the problem isn't coming back. And I think probably the reason is now this case is open, the heat is being allowed to escape upwards. When this is assembled, this is upside down, but still this 7805 power regulator is right next to this capacitor that's only rated at 85 Celsius. And I'm assuming, just clutching at straws really, that this might be what's creating the problem. So what I'm going to do, instead of sitting here for another half an hour hoping it's going to create its problem again, I'm actually going to take this board out and take that capacitor off and just check that capacitor. So I've taken the capacitor out and put it on my tester here. It's a 2200 microfarad capacitor. This says 21, well yeah, it's floating around, but that's okay. And the ESR is 0.06 ohms, so that is absolutely fine. I mean, when you bring its temperature up to something next to 95 Celsius, is that going to affect it? Not sure. I don't know. I hate jobs like this because unless the fault is there all the time, it's very difficult to try and track down what the problem is. So what I can do is just putting a new capacitor just to try and eliminate if that is a problem, but then it's still going to be right next to this thing, which is actually still very hot to touch. Maybe I should put a better heatsink on here, but there's nothing sort of in your face as what the problem is. So I've extended the heatsink on the back, I've changed the 7805 regulator, put a bit of heat transfer in there, that's nice and tight now, and used an aluminium screw all the way through because aluminium of course transfers heat rather well. And now will this go back into the keyboard? I don't think it's overhanging too much there, so yeah, that might help at least to keep this cool. But yeah, I'll reassemble it and see what happens. Right, I've put it all back together now. I've doubled the heatsink, so it seems to be running at about 50, 55, 60 maybe, around those temperatures. While I was at it, I've just changed the capacitors that were around the power unit anyway. Thinking about it, if there was a problem with the power unit that was stopping the audio getting through, then the LEDs would have dimmed or something, which they didn't seem to do. So I'm not sure if I've actually fixed this or not. However, it's been on for 56 minutes now, and well, it's not dying yet. So fingers crossed, I might have fixed it, I don't know. It was either that or there's a problem with the preamps and things heating up, but I couldn't find anything with my temperature sensor at all. Anyway, I'll give this back to my friend, and if he finds it dies after 2 hours, well, at least it lasts for 2 hours instead of 25 minutes. But I think this one has actually got me beaten, because I like to see a physical fault so I can repair it, but this I couldn't actually narrow down what was causing the problem with it. But anyway, it might be done, it might not be done. Like I say, I think this has got me beaten. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you did like that, please give us a thumbs up because it helps with the video searches. And there's a couple more interesting items on the way. I've got a nice drum machine off the market. It's just drying out at the moment, and that'll be next on the desk. So keep watching. Thanks a lot. All the best.